Alrighty. Good morning. Happy Aloha Friday. And let's crack into the last part of this series, which is going to be part 5 of the Southeast mobile app. And so I will be launching this one for the upcoming summer for commercial fishermen over there in Alaska. And so if you don't know what we're doing, you definitely need to head on over to part 1. I'll put that up above somewhere. Go ahead and check that out, or it'll be in the description below. So right now we actually have a mobile app running. And it's got some interesting data for it. But this data right now is all just seeded data that is pulling from our database. And so we actually want to have real data running in live time. And so what do we need to do? We've got our Supabase. We've already got our database set up. So, and it's basically just pre-seeded with this information right here. So what we're going to be doing is, this is really important information for fishermen. They like to see this while they're out on the fishing grounds. But again, we want to provide this in a really nice, easy way for them. As well as I'm going to be providing like a lot more information, but to just at least get them started, or at least to get this video series underway and finished, we're just doing one example of some of the information they like, and that's this Salmon Harvest Bay area. So what we're going to do now is we really have everything set up. We've got our database, we've got our mobile app, and the kind of last piece to this is we need to build a web scraper that can go out, scrape this data, post it to our database so our mobile app can read it. All right, let's go ahead and begin. So first thing we're going to do, head on over to GitHub, start ourselves a new project. We're going to call this Southeast Scraper. This is the Python scraper for scraping data for Southeast fishermen from ADF&G. Create the repository. This one will, yeah, fine. That's fine for now. Tell you what, moved to Washington here recently, and I got some Seattle's best this morning. Approved. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and, we're gonna go ahead and create a new repository. So we'll grab this one. We're gonna copy this, and we're gonna come on over to Southeast. Southeast Scraper. And then what we'll do is we're going to turn this into our GitHub project. So we'll run that. Done. And then what we can do is we can bust open Cursor and open that up. Done. All right. So not so concerned about the mobile app at the moment. So we'll go ahead and we'll close her down. But what we do want to do is this project is going to be working with our Supabase database. So what we'll definitely want to do is we're going to want to create our MCP connection here. Server, excuse me. And so we'll go to settings, Cursor settings. We'll go to tools and integrations. And, oh, interesting. So it keeps that across projects. Interesting. So now what we're going to do is, don't worry about this access token. I'm going to delete this before the video, so don't even bother. All right. We're going to go ahead and change the project ID here. This is from a different project. All right, so we've got that hooked up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use GPT-5 here and see if this thing can cook for us. So what I'm going to do is give this thing quite a bit of context, and I'm going to pause the video and show you what I write. And actually, what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little bit more, before I write all that, I'm going to do a little bit more project setup. So we're going to add our cursor folder here. And then we're going to have our rules. Well, that's not what I wanted. We're going to have our rules. Now, within rules, we already have this PRD. The whole point of this is to just really help when I write my prompt for it to understand what the heck we're talking about and working with. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We don't need to do UI guidelines. It's a you know. Ooh, I do like the clarify one. We're going to put that in rules as well. And so now I can finish this prompt, because the more I can give it, the better it's going to be. And so what I'm going to do with this prompt is I'm basically going to tell, hey, you're a Python web scraper. This is the project you're working with. Here's what you're going to be trying to scrape. And the way I'm going to do that is by providing the HTML of the page and see what we can get. All right. I'm just gonna keep it running live actually while I work. So I'd say like you're currently a part of this project. So basically I'm trying to treat this thing as just like, if I was a project manager and like I actually need to build this project and I didn't want to write any code, right? I don't want to write any code, but I've got people to build the project for me. That's the position that we're in. And so that's exactly what that's how I'm going to treat this. So I'm basically saying like, hey, you're a Python, web scraper developer. That's even a thing. And you're currently a part of this project. So I laid out like, hey, here's our, the product requirement document to kind of help give it some more context. It says your job is to scrape the data that actually goes into our Supabase DB. You have MCP, so you can see the schema layout and such. You'll see two tables in there right now. I'm going to provide you the website in which you can grab that data by scraping and then inserting. Note, this is some other context. Note that the scripts written will all be separate, and there will be multiple scripts for the different info that gets scraped. So for this one, this is called salmon harvest by area. Yeah. So for this one, place the script in a folder relevant to salmon harvest by area. I'll be running this script eventually as a cron job in render. So what does that mean if you're not familiar? A cron job is just like a time-based execution. So you're just gonna like this script just runs and that script goes and it does things, right? And so when it runs, it's going what platform, like what servers is it actually going to be running on? There's a service called render, and so that's where we're going to be doing that, and I'll be running you through that today as well. So please ask all questions that you need in order to please ask all the questions you need until you feel you have all the information needed to complete the job. Note, here is what the HTML website looks like that you'll be scraping for? So we're just going to come here. All right, so it's loaded, and we'll just use this tool here. And this really gets us to the place of interest. So I'm going to copy that. Note, I don't think this actually has, because rows, this is Lynn Canal Gillnet, and there's more. Is something like this, but you should note this only shows 1 through 25, and there's a button below this table that goes to 76 through 96, so we need a way to access that too. Please provide your plan before writing any code and how we'll solve for the different pages. Actually, one of the things we might be able to do is we could maybe look at where this data is being pulled from, right? So yeah, see, so this data is actually being pulled from here. So let's see if we can't can we just grab this, copy link address, and see if we just go straight to it. So here's what we're gonna do instead. Here's what we're gonna do instead. It's gonna be cleaner for it because there's gonna be less stuff. So we're gonna inspect it, and we're just gonna grab this whole document. Yeah. So we're gonna change kind of what I wrote here. Yeah. There is also an export button. Not sure if that helps you at all. So then what we can do is let's grab this link, right? The link you're scraping is this. All right, see what we get here. So the big thing here is like if like sometimes like I'll notice myself is like I have a lot of context provided, and even I don't know all the ins and outs. And so the best thing that I like to do is like, well, let's just provide all the context, and then you can have it help you create the plan. And because it'll help understand like edge cases and such, and that you might not be thinking for, or help you kind of put everything together in a really systematic way. And so with that, you can kind of create a plan. And so that's what we're going to do. All right. So first it's asking, like, it's going to need to have Supabase access. And so it's going to need to know these variables in order to be able to actually like write stuff into the database. So we're going to go ahead and, we don't want it there. Dude, That is really annoying. I just want it on the outside. Cool. And so what we'll actually do is we already have that. So I'm going to pull that over right now. I'm going to pull that over. And I'm not going to show it. Doesn't really matter, but whatever. Okay. I'll tell you what. I do need to update one thing here. Okay. I'm actually going to rerun it because this is my dev branch. And so it's really important that it's running from the dev branch because that table does look different. Or that database schema does look different. So, see what we get. All right, so we're rerunning it. And what you're going to notice that it's doing right here is it's actually going out to our Supabase and actually like looking at the tables and trying to understand what the schema looks like and things like that. And so, you know, for us, this is what we see, right? Like we know what our tables look like. Remember, this is our pre-seeded data. So like we know what this looks like and whatnot. Our project doesn't. And so our LLM is just trying to get familiarity with what these tables look like, what are the column names, things like this. And so that's kind of what you see going on right there. So let's see what it did. It said, I pulled your Supabase schema. I pulled your Supabase schema. We have public fisheries. Yep. Confirm a few details before coding. All right, target. I'm going to move my face over here too. All right, target. The region. Love that. So it's already trying to think about fragility. That's nice. So basically what it's saying is like, rather than like trying to scrape that HTML data and going through those like HTML elements, can we just like actually download this stuff? And in our case, we can. And remember, this scraper is going to be running on a computer, right? So like it's going to download it to the system and it's probably going to want to like download it in a CSV. And then Python loves to work with CSVs. So we'll probably do something with that. So yep, CSV export. Okay. Okay, this is really crucial. So it says, this usually returns the entire data set, all rows, independent of the on-screen pagination, meaning the pagination is just like when it shows you 1 through 25, 26 through 50, 51 through and 75. Instead, this is just going to show us 1 through 96. Go. Not really too worried about this. Questions to unblock implementation. Here we go. 1. Says, can I add unique constraints? So yeah, so should be written in an absolute fashion, meaning when we scrape, so long as there is not an error or all data isn't 0. I preface this because actually with my last app I ran into this issue where ADF and G would like update their like during like daily updates, they would like sometimes like zero out the table. And so like my scraper would go out, grab a zeroed out table, and then I would end up displaying that in the mobile app. And it's like, well, that's not very helpful. We just want to maintain the latest data. If all the data is 0, don't. All right. So what we want to do is rewrite all the info from this table each time we scrape. If all the data is 0 or error on scrape, don't, don't insert, or don't make DB modifications. All right, 2. Yeah, I don't know how to stop it. It's really weird. 2. If rows numbers is blank, store 0. Are we only targeting the current year? Is the running headless Chromium in render acceptable as a fallback, or should we restrict pure HTTP fetch? We may need to play around with this. Not sure what all of this means. I do, but like, again, I'm trying to always take this from the standpoint of like someone who's like not technical. Please provide or confirm we'll use environment variables. Yep. I have the .env at the root level of the project. Cron Cane's project. This isn't your worry in the code probably, but we'll run it like every 5 to 20 minutes or so. 7. Should we exactly mirror fishery, or do you want to? It needs to maintain. Well, let's see what we put in there. So what it's asking for is like in the database. Where's my fisheries? No, come on. Whatever, we're just gonna go back to it. So basically what it's saying right now is like, do we want to mirror these names in the database? And I don't remember how we did that. I believe correct. So these are as per scene. Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and public.fisheries. So contain the same names as, so the table should store the same names as seen in the table on mine. You can currently see public.fisheries table, what's the name of it? .name. Table.name to see we maintain names. All right. So let's go over my answers. This is sufficient. Let me know, and you can proceed. Otherwise, let's keep going back and forth till we have a solid plan. See what we get. So one of the things that I've noticed with GPT-5 so far is it does seem to be like pretty concise, or excuse me, not concise, accurate with what it goes to do. So like all these like little nuances and stuff that you're working on, it seems to kind of hit all of them, and so it's been good. But has it been better than like Sonnet 4? Honestly, from the agentic coding side, I can't say so. So here's what it's going to do. We're kind of doing this poorly because we're currently on the main branch. Do we have a git ignore? Probably not. We need to add that. Look at that. It made a folder called scrapers, and then it's created another folder called salmon harvest by area, and fetch and load, baby. There we go. Love it. And it also is, dude, this is amazing. So it's creating so here's what, if you're not familiar with what it's doing, is it's, as it's writing this script for us, we're already 288 lines deep. It's, importing these libraries in order for a Python environment to run correctly. And so it's saying, So what it's trying to do right now is add a bunch of libraries using a virtual environment. And I actually don't want to do that. I already have a Python environment set up. Called Conda, so I'm just gonna say Conda activate. I'm gonna say no. I just activated Conda and am in my base environment. Let's download, or let's install packages there. Run it. It's got to use pip 3. I don't know why it's using pip. Yeah. You need to use pip 3. What's this saying? What's it doing now? All right, I got some hot water boiling for some more coffee, so I'm gonna do that. All right. Dude, what I'm gonna do is just this, pip 3, install. I've already run it. I just decided to run it myself there. I just got water everywhere. Instead, oh, whoops. I meant I installed the packages, not the script. Is the script ready to run? Let's try it. Can't hurt anything, right? So let's run the script. See what we get. The year 2025. Validation failed. Empty data set are all numbers are zeros, giving DB. So here's what I got. Okay. So I'll add this to the chat. This is what I got, but I don't believe this is true at all. But I believe it's a scraping problem as I'm currently viewing their data now and it's full of info. Let's go back to that link that we provided it. Remember, this is the link it's drawing from. Let's continue with the CSV download. Please provide your plan before any execution. Oh, wow. So it actually was able to go out to that sheet and determine. That's a new approach. Would I would imagine that during so basically what I just asked is like when I run this, I should see like a folder with a CSV file come in. Well, it wants to reconstruct the rows. I don't want to. It wanted to make some DB schema changes, and we definitely don't want that. All right. I'm going to try, honestly, force on it. We should be able to download the CSV using the export button, and then using the export button, and then using Python to go through that to upload into our Supabase project. I don't know if we're actually going to. All right, so finished installing all the requirements. Keep the current logic. I prefer to run commands manually, please. Now let's scrape again. No, fine, whatever. No, I installed already. Now just run the script. Again, I would never really normally do this, but because okay, CSV parse failed. We'll fall back to headless receiving. Attempting a headless browser fallback. Parse failed. Pivot table not found on page. Blue sheet export CSV. This should not be the CSV. Please just provide the command. I run things in my terminal. So it looks like it might be working now. Oh, whoa. So this is the export, right? That's really, really good. This is the export that I got from the thing. So that's really a good sign. DB missing Supabase URL or Supabase service role key in environment. Totally. I would agree. I do need to grab it. Let's see what it's looking for. Service role key. Yeah, I can grab that. All right, I'm going to put that in, but I'm not going to show it. So I'm going to do that over here. I don't want that either. And then we need service role key. I have to look at what it was. Supabase, yeah. Also, Supabase URL. I had my environment variable set wrong. All right. Now let's run it. Let me look at this. I had a typo in my environment file there. So what I'm going to do So wrote 36 rows, so it looks like it worked. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna come over to our dashboard, and then we're also gonna grab the mobile app. So what we're gonna, don't like that. Something's not right. Oh. By species, okay. So the issue is it only scraped for the Chinook species and not all species, which are sockeye, Chinook, Jack, Chum, shove coho there, coho, pink. Was the assessment that said 36 rows? I was like, isn't there like 96 or something? Cool. So what happened is when it read the logic, it was like doing this, and then there's like a row span within the HTML that comes down to here. So it didn't grab any of this information. So we're gonna make that adjustment, run it again. I just want to run the script normally. I don't want to use this. So trouble. Let's do some okay. So it created like a save mode during the debugging process. Let's see what this gives us. So by trying to grab the other species, the the CSV now I can see is empty and just has the column names. running it again. See what we get. All right, so it says it was successful. Let's see what happens here if we reload our. I can't remember. Boom. There it all is. Nice. So now we can, so now what just happened? Our app doesn't look any different, but this is actually real data. And so I'm not going to go through, this took a little longer than expected, and so I don't want to go through the deploying of this out in render. But basically all we would do is we would hook up our GitHub to this project, and we would basically just tell a server, a computer, to just like run this script every so often. It would post it to our database, and then it would display here, right? And yeah, that's that. So that kind of concludes this app and sort of this process. Again, we did not one-shot that scrape, but I think we probably could next time by providing it a little bit more information. But that concludes it. I hope you have a good one, and I'll be back. I've got quite a few videos planned, so stay around, smash like, subscribe, and thank you. Appreciate it.